This tiny fruit helped people survive in some of the harshest environments on Earth. Not forests, not fertile river valleys, deserts, places where water was precious, food was limited, and every calorie mattered. For thousands of years, dates provided energy for travelers, traders, farmers, and families across North Africa, the Middle East, and beyond. Yet most people still think a date is just a date, but they're not even close. Some taste like caramel, some taste like honey, some are soft and rich, some are crisp and refreshing. One became deeply connected to religious tradition, and others helped support life, travel, and trade in regions where few crops could thrive. Because hidden behind that wrinkled skin is one of humanity's oldest cultivated fruit crops. There are thousands of known date cultivars grown around the world. Most people know one, maybe two. Today we're exploring some of the most famous: the giant medjool, the elegant deglet noor, the mysterious ajwa, the incredibly sweet sukari, the luxurious mazafati, and the durable varieties that help support life across desert regions for centuries. Because dates aren't simply fruit, they've been cultivated for thousands of years and became one of the most important foods in many arid parts of the world. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why entire cultures became inseparable from these trees. Because in some parts of the world, date palms weren't just crops, they were survival. Let's start with the king, medjool, the variety that changed how many people think about dates. Because the first time someone tries a high-quality medjool, there's often a moment of surprise. You expect dried fruit. Instead, you get something rich, soft, sticky, almost caramel-like. The texture feels incredibly indulgent, which explains why medjool became one of the world's most popular premium dates. Medjools originated in Morocco's Tafilalt region and developed in a hot, arid climate that helped produce dense, sugar-rich fruit. For generations, dates like these provided an important source of energy in regions where agriculture could be challenging. A handful delivered carbohydrates, fiber, minerals, and calories that were easy to carry and store. But medjool's story is bigger than nutrition. Imagine standing in the desert 1,000 years ago. No supermarkets, no trucks, no refrigeration, just heat, distance, and uncertainty. Then you arrive at an oasis. You find water, shade, and date palms heavy with fruit. For people crossing deserts, that wasn't convenience, that was relief, that was security, that was life continuing for another day. Even today, some endurance athletes use dates as a natural carbohydrate source during training and competition. Different era, same idea, portable energy, simple ingredients, and thousands of years later, medjool still does the same job it always has, helping people keep moving forward. If medjool is the king, deglet noor is the diplomat. Its name is commonly translated as the date of light, and once sunlight passes through the fruit, it's easy to understand why. The flesh glows golden amber, almost translucent. The flavor is lighter than medjool, honey, roasted nuts, a gentle sweetness, balanced rather than intense. Deglet noor became one of the most widely traded date varieties in the world, partly because its firmer texture made transportation and storage easier than many softer varieties. History often rewards resilience, and deglet noor is a perfect example. Barhi might be the most surprising date on this list, because fresh barhi barely resembles what most people imagine a date should be. It's bright yellow, and when harvested at an early stage, it's crisp, almost apple-like. The flavor can include hints of vanilla, sugarcane, banana, and sometimes even coconut. Then everything changes. As the fruit ripens, it softens, darkens, and develops the sticky sweetness associated with traditional dates. Few fruits transform this dramatically. It's almost like watching two completely different foods emerge from the same fruit. Then we arrive at ajwa, the most culturally significant date on this list. Small, dark, almost black. At first glance, it doesn't seem particularly extraordinary, especially compared to giant medjools. But ajwa became known for something larger than flavor, meaning these dates are closely associated with Medina in Saudi Arabia and hold special significance in Islamic tradition. That transformed them from food into something symbolic. and symbolic foods often occupy a special place in human culture. Think about wedding cakes, holiday meals, family recipes passed down through generations. Their value isn't measured only by ingredients, it's measured by what they represent. Ajwa works the same way. The flavor itself is unique, less sweet than medjool, more complex, dark fruit, molasses, subtle bitterness, occasional spice notes. The texture is firmer, more restrained, almost contemplative. It isn't a flavor that overwhelms you. It's a flavor that stays with you. Humans rarely connect with food through nutrition alone. We connect through memory, tradition, identity, and meaning. That's why some foods remain important for centuries. Not because they're fashionable, not because they're expensive. Because they become part of people's lives, part of their stories, part of who they are. And that's what transformed ajwa from a fruit into something unforgettable. If ajwa feels symbolic, sukari feels joyful. Its name is commonly associated with the Arabic word for sugar, and after one bite, it's easy to understand why. Honey, maple syrup, brown sugar, soft caramel. The sweetness arrives immediately. The texture is delicate, almost creamy, almost melting. But what makes sukari special isn't just flavor, it's context. Across parts of the Arabian Peninsula, dates are often linked to hospitality. Guests arrive, dates appear, tea is poured, conversations begin, families gather, dates appear again. Food has always been one of humanity's oldest social languages. Long before text messages, long before phones, people welcomed each other by sharing food. And for countless families, dates became part of that tradition. For much of human history, intense sweetness was rare, which made fruits like sukari feel extraordinary, like concentrated sunlight. Not every important food is luxurious. Food proves that. It's darker, chewier, less famous internationally, but dependable, affordable, widely enjoyed. This is the everyday date, the kind that quietly becomes part of daily life. The kind people eat without taking photos, without posting online, without calling it special. And maybe that's exactly why it matters. Because most of life happens in ordinary moments. Not celebrations, not milestones. Just everyday routines repeated over time. Then we arrive at something completely different. Mazzafati, the luxury date. The first thing people notice is the appearance: dark skin, glossy surface, extraordinary softness. It almost doesn't look real. Unlike many semi-dry dates, Mazzafati retains a high moisture content, and that changes everything. The texture becomes smooth, rich, almost dessert-like. The flavor brings notes of caramel, molasses, and toffee. Mazzafati is widely exported and remains strongly associated with Iran, especially the Bam region, one of its major production areas. And when people taste it for the first time, the reaction is often the same. Surprise, because this doesn't feel like dried fruit. It feels closer to a luxury dessert. Humans often think luxury is something we manufacture, something designed, something engineered. But sometimes luxury grows naturally. All it takes is sunlight, water, time, and the right conditions. Zadi may not be the most glamorous date, but historically, it may be one of the most practical. Drier, nutty, less sweet, yet highly suitable for storage and transportation. Before refrigeration, that mattered enormously. Semi-dry dates could travel long distances and remain usable for extended periods. Imagine crossing a desert centuries ago. Every item you carried mattered. Every source of food mattered. Durable foods were valuable because they reduced uncertainty. And in environments where resources were limited, uncertainty could be dangerous. Sometimes history isn't shaped by the most luxurious foods. Sometimes it's shaped by the foods that simply last. What makes dates remarkable isn't just the sweetness, it's the story. Because date palms thrive in places that appear difficult for life. Hot climates, dry landscapes, long seasons of intense sun. And yet they produce something nourishing, something valuable, something that humans have depended on for thousands of years. Maybe that's why people form such a strong connection with them. Because date palms represent patience. A newly planted palm doesn't reward you immediately. Years can pass before a meaningful harvest arrives. There are no shortcuts, no instant rewards, only time, care, and persistence. Eventually, that patience becomes fruit. And perhaps that's the lesson hidden inside every date. The things that last often take time. The strongest traditions are built over generations. The most meaningful relationships are built over years. And some of humanity's most important foods began with people willing to wait. For thousands of years, date palms supported communities across some of the world's harshest environments. Not by growing quickly, not by demanding attention, but by showing up season after season, generation after generation. Maybe that's why dates became more than food. They became symbols of resilience, of continuity, of life finding a way to flourish even in difficult places. And somehow, all of that fits into the palm of your hand. Tiny histories, tiny traditions, tiny reminders of how closely food and humanity have always been connected. Which date surprised you the most? Medjool, Ajwa, Mazafati? Let us know in the comments, and subscribe for more videos exploring the world's most fascinating foods and drinks. Because every food has a story, and we're just getting started.